Hi, you really need to think about or remember these things before you decide to move back to the UK. I'm Stephanie from English Rose across the pond and back. Welcome. So, as I was planning to make this video, I was pondering and thinking about how it is so much our human nature, it seems, to have the grass is greener. And it's a well-known saying, but it sure is happens. It sure is a reality, I think, when we go to different countries to live after we've grown up in a country or even lived there for a few years. So today I'm just going to share some notes and chat to you about my experiences, and I'd be very glad. In fact, I really want and ask you for your comments as well. If you've been in the same situation or similar, either you're in the UK now and thinking of leaving, or you've gone away from the UK, you've moved and thinking of moving back. First off, the winters. Because I know some of these might seem like the obvious fact, and I should know better because I grew up here. Correct, I should have. But after 18 years in Florida, and you tend to get used to your environment, whether you like it or not. You do actually adapt, and your body adapts, your mind adapts. It seems like everything about you adapts to your environment. And so when I was in Florida, I remember for the first little bit, anyway, and I was quite homesick, and I used to actually miss putting a coat on. I used to miss going in the cupboard and all the regalia that we put on when us English people, British people, the hats and the gloves and everything else. And so most of those items stayed in my cupboard almost the whole year in Florida. So I was missing that, and it was almost like mourning an old friend as regards putting my winter stuff on. And I didn't have the opportunity to wear some nice jackets that I brought with me, or boots. It was always just, the sandal shoes or light jacket or something like that. So you get used to that, and after 18 years you certainly do, whether you like it or not. I used to complain that there weren't any seasons in Florida. In North Florida there were a couple of seasons, say summer going gradually into winter, and then a quick winter and come back out the other side. So I got used to that. So having grown up in the UK, in the back of my mind I could remember those winters, but boy, when I got back here, the first winter, actually, this is my second winter now, going into 2025, and I have felt definitely the sad thing that I've heard about. I've felt that, experienced it. It's a real thing. Now, I don't know to what degree, I don't know, I wouldn't like to try and analyse it too much and prescribe anything, of course, but just from my own experience, I believe it's very much a true thing, a thing that happens to us because there's a lack of vitamin D. So if you're over in a sunny country like the USA and Florida especially, it's so easy to forget that you you move with sunny days. You wake up and you see the sun outside on your patio, and sometimes it's too hot to go outside, but it's sunshine, and you get so used to that. You take it for granted. And then I used to tell my family in the UK, how sunny it was. And so basically my point about the winters, and of course the rain, anyone who's British or lived in Britain knows about the rain. So you do tend to forget these things when you're abroad. Now, if you're in a kind of similar country in Europe, say like Belgium or the Netherlands or something, I'm sure it's much easier to keep hold of these things in your mind. But when you've been to a country that's so different, like the USA in their temperatures and weather, or Thailand or Portugal or something like that. So just please at least remember these things and factor in before, because it's been tough for me since I got back here. And like I said, this is my second winter now back in the UK, and it's been tough. And I'm actually taking extra vitamin D, and I do try and get myself out when I'm not working, but it's not easy because it's so cold. I'm a bit of a baby with cold, so that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is the house space, because again, when we grow up in England or Britain, we get used to small houses. It's just a way of life, isn't it? Two up, two down, or if you're a bit more well off, maybe a semi or a detached house with 3 to 4 or whatever bedrooms, and then you get used to, say, one. Maybe people years back used to just have the one bathroom and maybe 2 bathrooms nowadays, or whatever, according to your income. While here in the USA, it's probably very well known, especially to my audience, if you're older and watching, over say 40s, 50s, it's extremely well known that if you look at real estate in the USA, no comparison as regards space. So unless you are looking at the very, very cheap duplex, or the cheaper properties are linked together, or a terraced kind of thing over there, most people who are in the income bracket that would be buying, say, a terraced in the southeast or a semi here in England, they could well afford a detached house over there. And so I was living in a 2029, I think it was, square feet, and I just took it for granted. I have to say, I got used to that space quite quickly. We filled it up with furniture as we went, and I just got used to the spaciousness of the kitchen, the family room. We had 2 dining rooms, we had a living room, 2 bathrooms, and the closets, the walk-in closets. So when you get back over here, it's a shock to the system. So when I did move back, I had very good reasons, by the way, as I said in my intro video, that I was coming back to be with my older mum, and I've never regretted it for that reason. In that respect, I'm glad I came back. And so but that didn't take away the adaptations that I've had to make and the sacrifice, in a sense, that I made. But of course, when it comes to our mothers, it's no big deal at all. It's nothing. It's something that we do in love, isn't it? So I'm only reflecting on the practical things of life that I found difficult, but I certainly don't regret coming back to be with my mother. So yeah, house space, very, very different. I mean, I've had some quite comical times since I've been in this house. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, having moved to the USA and moved back, and you've had all that space. I mean, over there we had some large, amazingly long tables. We used to have quite a lot of people over for dinner on Sunday sometimes. And then we had another family room table where the kids used to sit around and do jigsaws or whatever. And I just got used to that space. And then over here, I made a couple of disaster purchases with a massive, great table that was, I loved the table. It was just much more rustic than that one over there. It was really my style, rustic-y type of dark wood, and the chairs and everything. It was really happening for me, but it was just too big. And so I had to just sell it. I just couldn't move in my little living room. And there's been other numerous things happen like that where I've had to resell stuff and buy something else just to adapt to the size. So now I'm just a kind of minimalist right now. I try to keep things small and just tidy and small, and that's it for now. So customer service, well, in America, and I can't speak for other countries because I've never actually lived in any other country really long term where I'd have the need to experience customer service. But in the USA, I do want to say that their customer service is just brilliant for the most part. I'm sure that people end up complaining if they have to wait a long time, but that's nothing new. But overall, once you get hold of them, once they get hold of you, it's ching, ching, ching. It's all the way through to who you need to talk to usually. They manage to solve the problem fairly quickly, and it's much more positive experience. But over here, it's I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. But ever since I've been back in the UK this time around, not last time, but this time, it seems to have gone downhill, way downhill. Not just on the phone with your questions to phone companies or whatever, but restaurants, and a big supermarket, who I won't mention. But I went there the other day, and this man, and he wasn't even, somebody who you could assume that maybe he's just starting off in his job and life. He obviously had some life experience, and so he was standing there at the trolley where they have the food ready to be labeled with discount, or reduced. And he was standing doing this right in front of the area where customers are supposed to dive in and have a look. Well, I tried to say ever so just gently and nicely, I could see that he was trying to get his job done. He was concentrating on what he was doing. But I said, oh, do you think, would you mind us moving over that way with the trolley so we can dive in and have a look? Something like that. And then he turned and he looked at me and just gazed at me for about 2 seconds and then went back to what he was doing. And I just tried to explain to him, when I said, well, it would be good customer service, wouldn't it? And he just completely did not respond. I don't know whether he didn't understand me or something else, but either way, it seems to me like customer service in the UK has gone way downhill. So once you come back from the USA, particularly, you get used to that. You take it for granted again and again. When I was over there, I forgot what it was like over here. So really, this is just like a little gentle reminders from anyone thinking of moving back to the UK. So the other thing that comes to mind is the food. Well, I love fish and chips. I love my curries. I guess they're typically English food nowadays, so I would definitely include those because they are good. But if you're looking for a tasty food, I mean, even McDonald's, my son, he grew up in Florida, and he has noticed a great difference, and not for the better either. So he's ordered, I think he's given up for the minute. He likes McDonald's because he's got used to that. So, I take him from McDonald's occasionally, and we'll just drive through, and I always ask him if he can lean across and ask for what he wants, because he's got particular things that he likes. And once we did this about a year ago, and everything he asked for, we couldn't. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that. And they were pretty basic things. I mean, in the USA, it would just be a case of, oh, we've run out right now, but we will have that in at 9 o'clock or something like that. But this response was, no, we don't have it. And then, of course, the classic, he asked for some iced tea. Well, this is about a year ago now, when we first moved here. So, we've got used to it now, and we just accept it. And so, really, there are so many things that we do tend to look at life or a country through rose-coloured spectacles. That's what my dear mum called it a few years back, and she was actually really sweet about this. I always remember when I first moved over here, and over there to over the pond, she was very sweet, and she said, well, don't look at England through rose-coloured spectacles, dear. And I should have remembered that before, but of course, like I said, I'm glad I did. But now, I've experienced full English life again, and all of these things are coming back to me now. So last thing on my kind of list today to share with you is the good aspects of American driving. So if you've been a tourist over there and you've hired a car, and you've had the blessing of going around and the country a little bit, you'll notice that they do have different road signs and stuff, and of course on the right, and different things are going on with driving. But you get used to, there's a certain thing that they call turning on red. I don't know if anyone remembers that, if they've been over there or lived over there, or any of my American friends watching. Of course, you know completely what that means. So I think that's an amazing feature of American driving, because as long as it's safe and you don't have a big sign saying no turn on red, which once I got a ticket for that because I missed that sign and got a ticket. And I appealed to the police officer, said, well, I'm really sorry, I'm British, I didn't know about these signs about no turn on red. Bye.